Okay, so here's a little bit of a crazy thought, but I hope you hang with me. Think about what the world looked like 200 years ago. The technology, medicine, what medical care looked like, what housing looked like, what roads looked like. Think about transportation. Now, I want you to think about what the world looks like today with all the technology, electricity, our transportation systems, our infrastructure, this light, this camera, this microphone, these monitors, everything that's around us. And then I want you to realize that everything we have today was available to us 200 years ago. It's not like some spaceship crash landed here 20 years ago and dropped off all this modern technology. It's not a Spider-Man movie. We're using the same resources that were available to us. Why didn't we invent this stuff 200 years ago? I believe it's because learning took a long time. Today, that's not true anymore. We can learn instantly. Can you imagine what the world's gonna look like in the next 20 years? How is this not the most exciting time in history? That's what I wanna talk about this week. Barack Obama gave me this from the White House.
About to leave, already packing, come with me, I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know.
Hey everyone, welcome back. This week we are going over to Houston. Why do I keep saying we? It's not we, it's just me, all by myself. It's me and the camera, and that's it. Anyway, I'm going to Houston to speak at a luncheon for an organization that supports first-generation students who want to go to college. Obviously, that's something that I'm passionate about. The fundraiser, they have an opportunity to raise lots of money to support those first-generation students. So flying to Houston, one day, flying back. So what I was talking about earlier, one of the things that I am going to be talking about this week is the idea of opportunity. The idea that we've never been at a place and time in history where learning happens so fast. The process of learning is changing. We can literally learn anything we want. And so I don't even think we fully understand the impact and the effects that having the world's information at our fingertips is going to do for us when it comes to learning. So back to what I was saying at the beginning, this idea that everything that we have in front of us was available to us 200 years ago, except learning took too long. You know, if you wanted to learn how to do something, you had to go find an expert. Maybe take 3 months to go across the country, take a train, visit someone, get information. I mean, it took a long time to learn how to do stuff. Today, that's not true. We can learn anything. Take this video, take this channel. 3 months ago, I didn't know anything about editing. I didn't know anything about shooting film. I didn't know anything about what the frame rate should be and the shutter speed and the ISO. And in just 3 months, I've learned so much. I mean, some of you are probably saying you still don't know how to edit, but I'm getting better at it. Premiere Pro is one of the most complicated software packages I've ever seen. And if we had that kind of advancement in software 10 years ago, it would be impossible to learn how to do without a tutorial, without people teaching you, without taking classes. And now slowly but surely, I'm learning new tips and techniques, a little bit at a time, learning how to do transitions, learning how to put film together, learning how to flip video, learning all these things, learning how to add sound, just a little bit at a time. That can apply to anything. How do we take advantage of that? What do you need to do to put yourself in the mental place you need to be to take advantage of this? That's what I want to talk about this week. So headed off to Houston in the morning, and I will see you on the road. So another one of those 200 reasons why I like living in Phoenix is because I live very close to the airport. From getting into my car and parking it at the airport, 10, 12 minutes really. And I like to cut my flights close. I like to get to the airport and then like just walk onto the plane with a cup of coffee in my hand. That's the goal. Flight today is at 10 o'clock and it is 9:10 right now. So most people get to the airport like 2 hours before their flight. I get to the airport like 10 minutes before my flight. Just the way I like to roll, I guess. It is 9:18 right now. So my flight boards in 12 minutes and I'm just getting to the airport. So
tell me, why'd you have to go and drive me so crazy? Now feeling lost without you and I just can't be without you, baby. Want you all night long, want you all night long.
wow, what a view. This might be the best view I've ever had in my life, in any room I've ever been in. All right, made it to Houston. Now I gotta quickly unpack. Headed over to a dinner. It's with some first-generation students going to college, and I'm excited to meet them. Not in Texas, gonna walk up to somebody's door. Nice to meet you. Hi,
I'm the one who's been bugging you.
Okay, nice to see you.
Yeah, we're so excited. This is Rick Cruz.
So in Houston today, about to head over to the Emerge Luncheon where I am speaking. Had a chance last night to go to one of the board members' houses for dinner. And there were like 6 or 7 students there from the program, and they were amazing kids. 2 of them are going to Harvard, one's going to Smith, and all these other great colleges, and these are all first-generation kids. They got a chance to talk and tell their story, and what they talked about was that they didn't know that they had the possibility of doing these things. It wasn't that they didn't have drive. It wasn't that they didn't have the tenacity to do this. It wasn't that they didn't have the capacity and capability. They just didn't have the support. They didn't have the opportunity, and they're all shocked that they're going to Harvard, and they're shocked they're going to Smith. And in reality, they've always been able to do that. They just didn't have the structure. So organizations like Emerge take those kids, those first generation kids, and show them a way. And of course, I'm here to support that organization or any organization that does that kind of work. But I want to continue the conversation around learning and how fast learning is changing, because it's related to what I experienced last night and what we're going to talk about today, because there used to be a time in history that education was a structure, right? You went to school, you went to elementary school, you went to high school, and then there was a separation between people who can go to college and people who couldn't go to college. And that was it. That if you didn't go to college, you know, where did you learn how to do stuff? You had to learn a trade. You took classes like community. I remember taking a Spanish. I wanted to get better at writing in Spanish when I was working, and I took a Spanish writing class at a community college. That's how you had to learn. Today, that's not true anymore. You can learn anything. You can learn anywhere. There's no longer this like line of separation between who gets to decide who gets to learn and who doesn't get to learn. Anyone can learn anything. And so a group of students who have similar interests or have a similar background or all those things together, they can form their own learning group. That line, that separation, that process line that you get to be educated and you don't get to be educated is disappearing, or it will disappear. And you know, when I was a kid, if a teacher asked me, hey, what happened on December 7th, 1941? And if I didn't know, I'd have to say, all right, I'll come back tomorrow and tell you. I'm gonna go find out. I had to go find an encyclopedia. Lots of families had their encyclopedias, you know, their volumes of encyclopedias in their home. I didn't have that. Well, that's not true. We had the M, right? Like the salesperson would come and knock on everyone's door, and they would sell you like one of the books. You know, they try to put you on a subscription program where every month you get a different volume for like $29.99 each book. First one was $1.99. It was, you know, my mother would sign up for that $1.99 book and commit to paying. She didn't have the money to pay, but we at least got the M. So I had the M. So if you asked me a question about anything that had to do with M's, I was all in. But if you didn't, I had to go to the Columbus Library on 51st Street and 10th Avenue. That's where my resource center was. That's where I had to go get information. And this library closed at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and basketball practice would go to 4:30, 4:45. It wasn't open on the weekends. At least when I was a kid, it wasn't. And if I found a resource that I was looking for, if I went through that card catalog and actually found a book that I needed to go look at, there was a good chance that that book wasn't there, because it wasn't just my library. It was everyone who went to PS 111, PS 51, PS 17, PS 45, everyone who lived in Hell's Kitchen. This was our learning center. So there was a good chance that the book wasn't there. Today, I have 100 million Columbus libraries in my pocket. It's got to change the way and the speed at which information gets into your head, and then you're able to process it. It just happens faster, and that's exciting. So that's why it's critical when the question that I asked in another video, what problem do you want to solve? It's absolutely critical that you really spend time thinking about what do you need to learn to solve that problem? Well, who are the people who are solving it? What did they learn? What are the things you need to learn to solve that problem? And then how do you go learn those things? What classes can you take? What online, offline classes can you take? What materials out there? What blogs? What newsletters? What websites? What's out there that you can start using to learn? Because I hope what we're doing is moving away from, hey, look, here's my piece of paper. I graduated from this university, to can demonstrate these skills that I have or this knowledge that I've been able to develop because here's my plan. This is the plan that I went through and all the stuff that I learned how to do. I think that line is gonna blur. All right, let's go to lunch. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a place to get coffee? Don't you hate when they run out of coffee? I'm here for the Emerge luncheon. Yes, sir. Good, how's it going? Okay. How you guys doing?
Right?
Yeah, oh yeah. How does it work?
Okay, we want to get a picture of you.
Okay. Hi! Yeah, how's it going?
I cannot believe you're here. This is so incredible.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is
look right here.
We have our keynote speaker. We have Miss Denise Hamilton.
So I know you have like a new YouTube page that you just started.
Yes, make sure you subscribe and follow me on YouTube. Wherever you end up and whatever you end up doing, look at that as an opportunity that's going to lead you to something else. Don't be afraid to ask people for their business cards. I can't tell you how many emails I get from people with like master's degrees from Harvard who send me an email saying, hey, I'm looking for a job, so let me know if you see any good job for me. No, you have to be specific about what you're looking for. Most professionals want to help. They want to give back. They want to be out there. They want to feel like they're mentoring and giving back. That's the advice I give, is be open, connect with your network, be specific about what you're looking for. People who come from low-income situations tend to hide that they come from low-income situations because society has equated low income with low ability and equated low income with being lazy, right? And so those of us who grew up like that are like, oh, I'm going to hide that part of my life. I'm not going to talk about that part. But that's your competitive advantage. Your experiences and your point of view and what you've gone through is what is your competitive advantage, right? Don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of where you are and where you come from. Bring that flavor to the table in what you do in your life.
And we hope today you're so inspired by the work that Emerge is doing that you choose Emerge as the organization that you want to get involved with this year. As part of Michelle Obama's Reach Higher initiative to get more countries of color to think about college. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Google Education Evangelist, Mr. Jamie Hassan.
So just left the event at Emerge. I've been to thousands of events and I've never been moved the way I was moved at this event. The stories were just incredible. The students were just incredible. Derek's story, the kid who's going to Harvard, his story is incredible. It's a very moving event and these kids are amazing. And the work that they're doing with these kids, like the idea that I would fly to Houston to spend 15 minutes, that's not what it was about. The 15 minutes on stage is not what it was about. It was about engaging with those students and answering their questions and talking to them and letting them see someone who grew up the way they're growing up, to show them that life is great, that you can be happy, that you matter, you have the capacity, the capability. It was a very special event, so I'm really excited that I came. And again, they'll only know this if they actually watch this video, but anytime they want me to come out, not even for a luncheon, they just want me to come out to spend some time with their students, I do that. One of the cool things about traveling is finding places to take photographs or to fly your drone. On this park next to the skyscrapers of Houston, and was able to pull over and get some shots. And this is what they look like.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Phoenix.
Trump and a firm founded by Trump is now member of the approaching committees sake of running the lobbying industry.
Well, first Trump brings the swamp inside the executive branch, but he certainly wasn't very sincere.